Saan yung link, Besh, for the YouTube? Okay. Challenge. Mm-hmm. It's fine. It's fine, Besh. Yeah. Anyway, sige lang. Eh, nagsisend pa si Sir Manuel. Wait, I'll check. What's up? Not yet. Not yet. Sa 5. Sige. Ayan na. That's there. Oh, yeah. Andyan na. Oo. Ako din. Ako din. Wait, I'll check my YouTube, ah. I'll share it to my other phone. I'll share another sa Facebook. 8 na sa akin. Yes. Yeah, we're ready. We'll just wait. Wait for other friendships. Yeah, I'm just sharing the link to friendships in FB. Okay. Wait, I'll open my link here in YouTube. It's fine. Yes. It's fine, Bresh. At least we've tried. Slash. Can we do this? Three G. Yeah. I'm here. Yeah. Yep. Yes, I'm ready. I am YouTube. I'm in YouTube.
Oh my god. So I'm going to stop the music now. All right. Hello, YouTube, and hello, world. Hello, everybody from IFNG. This is our very first live stream slash podcast with the recent passer, Miss Jovi Jean. So before we start everything, we're going to introduce ourselves first so as not to be rude to our viewers. Hello. Oh, sorry. Yes,
Yes.
hello.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so who are you first before we begin?
So, hello. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Jovi Jean Bailon, but you can call me Jovi. I'm a nurse and I've passed my IELTS exam recently. It's just, I think, a month ago. And we were partners with Sir Manuel in our journey. We've met in a IELTS group called IFNG, and we have developed the friendship through studying. And I think it was the best experience,
And wait,
learning and
Jovi,
enjoying.
wait, Jovi. I think this was just a
Yeah,
joke a couple of months ago that we're going to do a podcast. And look at where we are now, right? We were joking, and look at, girl, we're here now in YouTube, and there's some people watching, and thank you so much for watching our podcast. So yeah, thank you, and that is a very IELTS way of introducing yourself. And by the way, my name is Manuel De Leon. You can call me Manny for short. That's my introduction. You can copy it. Um, what else do we need to talk about? So today's podcast is very chill. Um, there's going to be
yeah,
a mock at the end, but we're just going to talk about experiences and how we passed the IELTS exam, what
yeah.
sacrifices we made.
I
And there was
true.
sacrifices, right? So what was the sacrifices that you made when you were um, practicing for the IELTS exam?
Actually, to be honest, IELTS is the toughest exam that I've been through. So I'm a nurse, so and I passed my NCLEX
Uh-huh.
examination 2 years ago. And I would say that it's a knowledge based exam. So you just need to study by the book and, of course, theory based. But the IELTS is more of skill based examination. And I think, although we've learned English from our primary years in school up to our, let's say, college, but then as my experience, it was let's say it was deviated from the right usage of the language when I was like I moved here in the Middle East because I need to adjust to the first language where I am, which is Arabic.
Uh-huh.
And
I know it's hard to learn
I
Arabic as well as speak with English to other
true
people who
true
barely know that language is themselves, right?
true. I think
It's difficult.
many of the people who live in Middle East can relate to that
Mhm.
because I
Where are
think
you
that
in the Middle East, by the way?
I'm actually from currently I'm in Dubai
Uh-huh.
and I'm working as an aesthetic nurse.
Oh, wonderful.
And
So that involves
to
what?
it involves
The
making
job involves.
people feel
See,
and
I'm
look
like an
beautiful.
examiner, guys. I'm like an examiner, so I'm asking her some questions. We have a mock later, but I'm still asking her questions as if I'm an examiner. That's what we do in the IFNG group or any mock exam that you might experience. This is how we talk now. So right? So an aesthetic nurse.
Yeah,
By the way, I'm sorry to have interrupted you, but an aesthetic nurse. What does
sure,
that
it's
job
fine. It's
entail?
fine. We mainly focus on making people feel and look beautiful. So, as a nurse,
Beautiful,
I'm helping a plastic.
beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful girl. All right, all right.
so so I'm let's say I'm helping in the clinic setting. I'm helping the plastic surgeon doing some, let's say, we call that fillers, botox, injectables.
All right,
And in the hospital setting, I'm also helping her in the surgical procedures.
all
But
right.
independently, I can do lasers and, let's say, skin treatments
Uh huh. All right.
in
Wonderful.
supervision of the doctor.
All right. So next question would be when and how long have you prepared for the IELTS exam? So let's start with when. When did you start preparing for the
When?
IELTS?
Okay, to be honest, I planned to take the IELTS law way back 2018.
Hmm.
But then, no, sorry, 2019, I started my review, let's say, end of 2019, because I'm planning to take to 2020. But then, so this happened, pandemic happened. So I need to delay the examination because my examination was booked in the Philippines before, because I was in a holiday. And I was in a, let's say, a maternity leave,
Hmm.
which become longer because of the pandemic. So I
Yeah,
stayed there
the
for a
pandemic
year.
sucks, right? The pandemic sucks.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
sucks
But I
so
think that
much.
that was a that was a blessing in disguise for me, because I was able to stay longer in the Philippines and be with my kids. So
Okay,
I have two kids
so we have to close
left
the doors
behind.
for men in the live stream right now. So basically, you just said that you're single, and the men in the live stream are probably, oh.
Hopefully they won't leave us.
But anyway, yeah. So let's
Yeah.
move on to how long was the? Sorry, you answered how long, right? So
Yes, but let's say I didn't directly answer that.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
let's say
it's
back
a
then
very.
it was
You're
it
becoming
was
very evasive. It was sort of skirting around the topic.
yeah. Sorry for
So
that.
you were
So
skirting
I
around the topic.
was 3 months before.
3 months. So how
It's
long it took was
3 months
3 months.
before
Uh-huh.
it was, let's say, 3 months I prepared, but then it got canceled and I had a gap of, let's say, a year. Then in the proper exam, I mean in the final examination, I booked for, I booked for 6 weeks before the examination. And the
Really?
focus, yeah, focus review was a month, so 4 weeks preparation.
Okay. So that was a
The
tough one. A
focus
tough
one.
one. I actually
I
prepared for 3 months. I started June 20
supposedly.
June 2020, 3 months before I took the exam. So kudos to you for actually making it. And mind you,
Ah,
you have a child, so that would be that you would, or
yes.
you're also an experienced nurse, as well as how many kids do you have now? Three.
I have two.
Oh,
I have
sorry,
two
I thought three. I
kids.
added another one. Sorry, sorry. I added
Soon,
another one.
but not now.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay. So
Yes.
aside from being a mother, you're also working. So that's juggling two things as well as the IELTS. So I commend you for that tenacity. Oh, vocabulary words. Tenacity on
Tenacity.
pursuing the IELTS exam. All right, congratulations by the way. And what are your plans now before we move on to another topic? What are your plans after you've
So
already gotten
I'm
your grade and everything? What's next for Miss Jovi Jean?
So I'm into the visa screen stage now for let's say for my US application, but
Uh-huh.
still I'm waiting for my for the support from my agency, because you know there are some delays, and I want to maximize the expiration of the IELTS, which is 2 years.
2 years.
So
Yeah.
it's still valid. So I don't want to rush with the visa screen
The
stage.
visa
Oh,
screen is
and
probably one of the most expensive things that you have to pay for in
yes,
your
yes.
American
So
dream. So note that, note that, my
yeah,
dear subscribers and my dear watchers, all right? The visa screen
yeah,
is probably the most expensive thing that you have. I think it's around $600, or if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
why
but
I'm still
anyway,
for now I'm back to more, let's say,
back
casual day to
to,
day
but
work
have you
and
missed practicing
home.
the IELTS exam? For the IELTS exam, have you missed it?
Oh yes, yes, definitely,
I mean,
definitely.
and
Actually,
that's the reason why we're here, right?
I'm
That's the
true.
reason why we're
I'm
here.
still helping. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
So
still helping some
we
of
have
my
someone,
friends.
on the live stream chat box. Hatem Abdullah. He's one of my friends. He's actually a Saudi, a local Saudi. So shout out to Hatem out
Wow.
from Saudi Arabia. So, hi Hatem. He's a close friend of mine. Yeah.
Hello.
So if you have Hatem, if you have questions for Miss Jovi or me, you can ask them. You can. By the way, Hatem, she's single. All right. So don't even try. All right. All right. So don't even try, Hatem. Anyway, now, when we were in the IFNG group or in any practice exam, what do we usually ask each other? We try to boost each other, right? We try to boost each other's
Yes.
um, morale,
Confidence.
confidence is actually
Yes.
one of the most important things that. And tip number one,
True.
this is this is a show basically that also gives us tips for would-be exam takers, right? So the number one tip that
True.
you would need is what, Jovi? What tip would you give for somebody who is starting out their IELTS journey?
As what I'm always sharing to those who are just, let's say, IELTS aspirants.
Hmm.
Let I'm always encouraging them to speak up, because on the day of your exam there's no other, let's say, there's no other way that can, or there's no other one that can pull you down,
All right.
unless you already build your confidence to speak to, let's say, a stranger, which is your examiner. You need to showcase your personality, your language, your English skills to a stranger. So first and foremost, you need to overcome the fear that you have in speaking.
All
So first,
right. Yeah.
the
That
key is
I think
confidence.
that's that's one of the first things that you need to remember is becoming confident, right? And
Yes.
I actually added that to my list of tips in my own personal growth during the whole IELTS experience is building confidence, because I was too arrogant to ask for help from people before. And and when I learned of the IFNG group and some of the people from Niners as well who become dear friends of mine, I think some of them are in the audience right now, and they're listening through. I say, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Don't worry. But the most important thing that I've learned throughout this experience is getting help and finding a
Mm-hmm.
friend, because English isn't a subject that is more on the sciences that you have to memorize, analyze, and everything. It's actually a skill. If you look at
Yeah.
other people who are studying in the IELTS group, you will see it. You have to constantly practice it. And I am actually one of those people who I would say I stopped for like a week, right? And you were one of the people
Yes.
who said what was the thing that you what was the most important thing that you've said to me that gave me a boost and a wake up call, because I started to decline in my performance, to have a decline in my performance. What was that one
It
thing
was a
that you
big
said?
word.
Yes.
It's conviction.
Yes.
Y-
So conviction. So tip number one is have confidence, and the next one is have conviction in what you're saying,
Saying.
especially in the speaking portion of the exam. So I think for me, the most difficult exam is the speaking portion. Um,
Yeah.
I can learn how to tackle on reading materials if I'm not, if I don't want to sound arrogant, but I like to read a lot. That's why for me the reading portion was the easiest for me. And then the listening portion, I seem to do well in that one since I like to watch a lot of American TV shows and British shows. Like, ooh, shout out to those people who are fans of Bridgerton, right? Yeah, those people who watch Bridgerton, you can please say so in the chat box, okay? But yeah, oh, a gift from Zoom. Anyway, what was the most easiest subset of the IELTS exam for you, Jovi?
To be honest, let's say I did well in listening, reading, and speaking,
Uh-huh.
because these three are the subtests that I'm practicing. Let's say mostly speaking is every day. Listening, reading is, let's say, 3 times in a week.
what about
But I
what
would say
about
listening.
speaking? What
Listening
about
is the
speaking?
easiest.
What about speaking? Did you find it hard or what?
Yes,
For
at first I
during
really
the review,
find it
during the
hard.
review, was it hard for you?
Yes, I really find it hard because there's it's not always that you just speak English. You need to let's say showcase your vocabs, your pronunciation. So
Yeah.
everything that there's a lot of factors in speaking. Plus,
Agreed. Yeah,
you're
agreed.
speaking to a stranger.
Yeah.
So I don't
So
know how
right,
you
we're,
will express. Yeah.
3 months ago we were total in complete strangers, and look at where we are now. We are starting our own podcast, and
Thanks to you.
right, we started our own 3 months ago. We
I was
literally have no idea, and she was the second person who I did the mock with. Unfortunately, Mr. Bry wasn't here in our presence. He's also a passer. Hopefully, I get to talk with him next time. But yeah,
yeah.
she was the
Actually,
second
you're the
person.
first one. You're
Really?
the first one. Yeah.
Oh,
You
so
were the first one who really let's say pushes me to speak up
so I was a challenging
because
person. Was I intimidating?
yes.
Uh, be
At
honest.
first, yes.
Was
Actually,
I intimidating?
everyone for me before was like I feel I cannot really speak well because I'm every time I'm doing mock, it's that I'm thinking that this is an examination. I am graded. I need to do well,
Mhm.
but then on in the long run I got to be more let's say confident and enjoy the conversation. That's the time that I was
Yeah.
able to speak more English.
So
Don't put in your mind that
tip number
it's
3. So
yes,
that's tip number 3, right? Tip number 3 is
yes,
to enjoy the
just enjoy the
process and
conversation.
enjoy
Yeah,
the
enjoy the
process. Try
process.
to listen to other people's stories when you're doing the mock exam. And I've met a lot of people. Aside from Jovi, I've met a lot of amazing people in
Yes.
the chat groups that I've been practicing in during the mock exams. These people are wonderful. Their stories are inspiring. I met one person who failed the exam several times, and he was almost down in the dumps. Another lexical resource down in the dumps.
Resource.
Yeah, so he was always down in the dumps, and then he we met through common friends in the groups, and most of them most of them boosted each other's confidence in participating in the mock speaking exam. And that's wonderful thing is to find a group of friends or even just one person who can support you throughout the whole arduous experience. Or arduous, that you guys, you could use that
Arduous.
one as a
Yes.
vocabulary word. Arduous. But yeah, aside from looking for a friend, the other this is tip number 4: find a friend that will boost your confidence and support
Yes.
you and will not drag you down. Because I've met a lot of people, and IFNG actually, and the other people in any Filipino who's practicing in the groups. We have
Mm-hmm.
Indians also. I think I have an Indian. I've heard an Indian person in the group once, and I've never heard
Yeah,
anybody said
I think
a
they have.
completely personal attack towards another person. And that for me is wonderful because it means that everybody is, how would I say this, is trying to have the same goal. And so they wouldn't, what's the purpose of trying to become negative, well, towards your peers, right? The grading system is
Yes, true.
individual. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say people should try to go into these groups who are supporting and loving. Oh, I would say, I said loving because
Yeah.
I've met a lot of mothers in the in these groups. And yeah, I think
I'm
some
one
of
of
our,
them.
hopefully some of our listeners out there get advice from us. And because the purpose of this podcast, as we've always talked about before, was to inspire people to step in those Zoom
Yeah,
meetings. Those Zoom meetings aren't just there for you guys to listen to. Try to at least speak up. Nobody will judge you.
speak up.
But a lot of my friends in before I took the exam were trying not to say a lot of trying not to say anything because their fears of being mocked. But I've never
True.
experienced that one, and thankfully
Mm-hmm.
those people out there during my time in these groups have always been nice and kind to the other people who aren't doing very well. Because honestly, when you look at some of the people performing, you can tell that they're not as good as you as some of the more advanced users, right? I've I've seen
Yeah.
people who have mispronounced things. The grammar slips are always present in all parts of the exam or the mock exam. And I've
Mm-hmm.
never heard somebody say, fix this, or in Tagalog vernaculars, ayusin mo nga yung pinagsasabi mo. I've never seen anybody that, because that for me is important. Trying to boost someone's confidence is has to start with the person on the other end of the exam, right? The examiner itself, the
Yeah.
examiner himself, is also an important factor in boosting the confidence level of the examinee. So yeah, if you're in one of
Yes.
these groups, I suggest right now, speak up. When somebody asks who wants to
Mm-hmm.
do usually they would say, who wants to do the mock with me,
Mock.
right? We were always saying, who wants to do
Yes.
the mock with me? Nobody's here, so I'll just do the mock with myself. And or
Yeah.
another method is calling on Jovi, where are you? I need
Names.
somebody. What's up?
Yeah.
Anyway, for those people in IFNG who's watching right now, you can just message me in the groups if you're looking for somebody who if the groups are empty or dried up, so to speak. Or so to speak, right? So to speak is another way of trying to cover up your messes. But yeah, all right, let's move on. Are you ready to do the mock? We're on the half hour mark now because
Okay.
introductions and are you sure you want to do the mock now? Are you prepared?
Actually, I almost
Always.
forget how to do mock.
Always, yeah, always. So this a little bit of briefing for the people who are listening. These were actually the questions that were asked of her during the speaking exam, and I will be the invigilator. Would you believe it? Oh, no, no, sorry. Examiner. An invigilator is someone who stays with
Examiner.
you. Yeah, an invigilator is someone who
Yeah.
stays with you during the writing exam, and they're not really going to ask your input or output. So, examiner is someone who asks outputs from you. An invigilator is someone there who prevents you from cheating. So, I guess that's the difference. I just found out actually
Yeah.
whilst I was studying. So, vocabulary words, the difference between an invigilator and examiner. The examiner asks for your output. An invigilator is just there to prevent you from cheating. Basically the same as an examiner, but they prevent you from cheating. But anyway, all right, I'm going to pull up the questions that you've sent me earlier, and we're going to go on game face mode now. This is examiner,
Okay.
examinee. All right. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? Hope
Okay.
anybody who wants to join the Zoom meeting later, excuse me, Jovi, for a while. Anybody who wants to join and do a mock
Sure.
exam with me later are welcome to do so. Just send me a message in the chat box right there. You can also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm promoting myself. I'm promoting myself because we want to do more of these videos. All right. So
Yes.
with that in mind, if you want to practice, just I'll send you a link and we'll give you some outputs also on what on things to improve on. But for now, if for now, Jovi will be the one who will be our examiner. Again, I'm gonna ask you, are you ready?
Yes, I am
Okay,
ready.
wonderful. Now, where is your questions? Where is that question? It was a long one.
Even
It was a
yeah.
long one. It's at the bottom of the list. I'm sorry.
I
I'm terribly sorry.
it's
There you go.
fine.
I found it.
It's fine.
I found it. All
Yeah.
right. Game face mode on. This is
Okay.
this is an exam. This is how an examinee who got the IELTS passing grade for the speaking exam performs. So let's give a virtual round of applause for Jovi for being brave enough to to showcase her English speaking skills that she showed to the examiner. All right. So, hi, my name is
Okay.
Manuel. I will be your examiner for the IELTS speaking exam. May I know your full name, please?
I'm Jovi Jean Bailon, but you can call me Jovi.
All right, Jovi. Are you working or are you studying?
Currently, I am employed as a nurse in a say aesthetic clinic in Dubai. And what I love about this job is meeting people in different walks of life.
All right. Okay. So, we're going to go on with the part one. Are you using
Sure.
apps in your cell phones nowadays?
Oh yes, definitely. I am a big fan of applications and mobile phones, and I think it helps me doing it helps me do a lot of job. I love multitasking, so this is a thing for me.
All right. So, what app have you used recently? Downloaded, sorry.
I
What app have you
Okay.
downloaded recently?
It will be iHerb. It is a mobile application that, let's say, a pharmacy, a mobile pharmacy. So I'm ordering online vitamins and some healthy stuffs, which is really essential for me at this moment because of this pandemic. So I need to be healthy.
All right. So, how did you know about these apps?
I spend most of the time in social media, and one advert that I've encountered there is this one, the iHerb. So I got curious, so I downloaded and I looked into this app, and I think it was useful for me. So I'm always using it nowadays.
All right. Sorry. Let's talk about pets. Do you have pets?
In the past year, I did. I had a puppy, and actually, he died a month ago under my care. After that, I never had one because I don't want another heartbreak.
Oh, that's a sad story.
Mm,
Anyway, let's move
yeah.
on. What's the most popular pet in your country?
Talking about the Philippines, which is, let's say, an agricultural country, and I would say that our water buffalo is one of the top pets in my country. It is used as a, let's say, as a help in the farm where people needs to have, let's say, a support, especially in plowing the land fields, and then also in carrying goods, because Philippines, as I've known, is like the backbone of the economy is farming. So they tend to have pets that can help with their livelihood.
All right. Okay. Do you prefer indoor or outdoor pets?
At this moment, I would prefer indoor pets. Sorry, I would prefer outdoor pets because I have two kids, and I'm not sure if they're ready to have a pet inside the house. But I'm open to have indoor pets whenever they grow bigger. They can. These pets can teach my daughters to be responsible of taking care of others. But of the moment, I would stick to outdoor pets.
All right. That ends your part one. Now I'm gonna give you a minute. No, I think I can give you a 15-minute time to prepare. 15 seconds.
Okay.
Sorry, not minutes.
Yes,
I think
it's
I can give you 15 seconds to
it's
prepare.
fair.
Do you have, yeah, you've already experienced this question, so I suppose 15 seconds is enough, right? To prepare for this. You've
It's
already,
fair. It's
you've,
fair.
yeah, you've already had this question before. So, all right, 30 seconds to prepare for your part two. By the way, it's 1 minute
Okay.
in the actual exam.
In the
It's 1 minute.
actual exam.
It's one
Yeah.
minute. All right. So because she already took the exam and she already passed her speaking exam, we're gonna give her a challenge, and this time it's 15 seconds. All right, and your timer starts now. The question is, you already know it. For the audience, I'm gonna read it
Yeah.
for you guys. The question is, skill that was difficult to learn. That was her question. You should ask. You should tell what it is, when you learned it. Sorry, when you learned it, and how do you feel about learning it. So that's the question prompt
Okay.
for her part two, and her timer is up. So you may begin to speak. You may begin speaking now.
Okay.
Two
So
minutes.
when
Sorry.
I move,
Wait.
okay.
2 minutes. Sorry. Chill, chill. It's just me. In Tagalog, ako lang to.
Oh.
Chill ka lang. Alright? So, eto na.
Nanginginig pa.
Bakit ka nakikinig?
Basta
Alright.
ikaw.
Alright. So, we spoke Tagalog for a brief
Okay.
moment. But,
Yeah.
English. English, Jovi. English. Alright?
Yes.
So, 2 minutes starts now.
When I moved in the Middle East 2 years ago, I was introduced to a field of nursing, which is kind of specialized because I wasn't able to study it at school back then. So to kick off, this skill was it was a challenge for me to learn. It is a laser therapy. It is a treatment where we do skin or hair removal using lasers. And I feel really, I felt that this was not this is not my career choice at first. But then I tried to open up my mind and learn that this will be a gateway for me to improve my profession. So I burned my midnight oil studying, as well as I enrolled myself in a training course to learn more about this body of knowledge. And then I had a support, and I had I got a let's say I got more knowledge in practicing that skill in regards to treating patients by asking my, let's say, my dermatologist or my plastic surgeon on hand when I am treating patients or when I'm observing them treating patients. So with this skill that I've learned, it is a thing that I would treasure because it's not only for myself but as well as helping others whenever they feel so down, looking to themselves in the mirror, or they have a lot of insecurities about themselves.
All right. I'm sorry to
So
interrupt you, but that is the end of your 2 minutes. How do you feel about learning the skill?
at first it was a great challenge for me because I complete all of this skill because it is not even taught to me on my bachelor's degree. But then at the end of the day, I accepted the challenge, and now it is my bread and butter for almost 6 years now, living in the UAE as in
All
aesthetic
right.
nurse.
Thank you. All right. So let's move on to your part three. These are questions related to your part two. And first question is, compare a child and an adult learning. How would you compare a child from an adult learning a skill?
Um, so as the way is it, children are more prepared to accept new knowledge because they are more curious of things that is happening around themselves, and they are, let's say, eager to learn new things, especially those who are those who are those activities that engage them. But on the other hand, adult learning is, let's say, quite difficult, because mostly of the elderlies has more responsibilities to perform, so they lack focus on the new things that they need to learn. And most of the time they're hesitant to learn new skill, especially if it's more of a technological aspect, because they are afraid to broke, or to let's say have something done wrong in a, for example, in a cell phone, in a mobile phone, or in a computer. So that's my thoughts of of this question, on these questions rather.
All right. Now, let's move on to your next question. Are governments funding knowledge and discovery nowadays?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Are governments funding discovery of knowledge nowadays?
Oh yes, definitely. There are countries, especially the developed countries, who really allocate a budget to, let's say, space explorations, or let's say some development on the machines that could help the society. So, in this case, they also share their discoveries in the world, or they also some of them also published researches that can help not only their country, but also the overall population. And I think that's let's say that's an honor. It's a let's say it's a what you call that. Sorry.
It's okay.
Now I
Don't worry, it's not
I
an IELTS exam. It's just a mock exam. Don't worry.
yeah.
She got a little bit
It's
frazzled, guys. Don't worry. But she still passed the exam because of that one. All
yeah,
right.
sure. So anyway, so that's let's say that will be an honor to a country, as well as the people who did the discovery, or the support for, especially the financial issue, on discovering things.
All right. Wonderful answer. All right. What can governments do to improve the knowledge of people?
Okay, so the way I see it, government should, let's say, develop, especially the knowledge, the talent in children, to begin with. So they are the ones that are more into, let's say, explorations, and in their young age, government can help them develop those things, because some of them needs a specialized coaching, or a specialized education that is more focused on their skills. So I think these are the things that modern education should also be the modern way of educating children should also be implemented on the way that in the way that government can support this educational development. It is a key to improve a child's knowledge, and also it can be, in the long run, children can develop themselves, develop their talents, and it will be the benefit of this society as they grow older.
All right. Wonderful. Okay. So, as always, in every IELTS practice a mock exam, I would ask you to rate yourself or assess yourself. What would be your self-assessments? Thank you, by the way, for I'm sorry, I was very impolite. I didn't even say thank you to our mock examinee. I'm so sorry. All right. All right. Thank
It's
you
fine. I
for
actually
that wonderful performance slash commendable performance. And and as
Actually,
always,
yeah,
and
I
as always, the next question would be, how would you rate yourself, or how
how
would
would
you
you
assess
rate?
your performance? Because self-assessment always
Actu-
comes next.
Okay. Actually, I encountered these questions already in my, let's say, in my real examination, but
Hmm.
I am a person who are not memorizing anything.
Yeah,
So you can see it's spontaneous. I
it's
can even
spontaneous. Yeah,
sometimes remember.
yeah.
Yeah. I can't even remember
She's
the
trying
words
to
that I've
remember.
said
I can
before.
see it on your face. You're trying to remember the exact things that you've said to the examiner. But I tried
But
to play a trick on you on the last one. I changed the
yeah.
question. You can see that I tried to change the question because I know
Yes.
you're gonna be prepared for this one. So again, I posed the challenge for you, and that, I think that's what
Thanks for that.
bad a band 7 and up would do. Someone who is capable of it.
Yes.
So assessment wise, you tried to remember yourself. Aside from that, what else? Were there any things to
I
improve
think,
on?
of course, there are always grammar slips, but
Mm-hmm.
self correction is
Uh-huh.
there. But I tried still, I tried to be more confident and be conversant
Mm-hmm.
because normally, examiner is not really, let's say, they tend to focus more on how you engage them.
Mm-hmm.
If you are engaging in the examiner, you are, let's say, they sometimes can set aside those minor issues or minor slips in grammar, in pronunciation.
Yeah.
They're
So
fine with that as
nobody's
long as you
perfect,
are,
right?
yes, as
Even
long as you're
even
conversant.
natural speakers, or the first people well, first people the natural born speakers of English have grammar slips. So don't worry. Don't um pressure yourself to perform perfectly. Nobody's perfect. And even examiners themselves
Yes.
can sometimes make a mistake. And yeah, thank you so much, Jovi. I think that's what about my comments? I didn't focus on some of the bad things. There were some glamour slips, and you know me, I hate it when you say and
Yes.
I hate it
The
when you say
fillers.
I actually counted several but
Yeah.
that's pass you passed for me on that one because there's not a lot of ums. A little bit of story for the people who are watching. Jovi and I started together. I think almost. I think I met her a week on my practice, and I think you started. I think 3 days earlier on the group,
Mm-hmm.
right? 3 days earlier, and
I,
both of us we tried to challenge ourselves to remove the or the those things. These are what we call fillers, from what I've
yes.
gathered from many IELTS coaches, online or through review centers that I've to the review center that I've enrolled in. Shout out to the people in Niners. Thank you so much. And yeah,
Yes,
but anyway,
I've been with them also actually
yeah,
in my
yeah.
first
Shout out to them,
in
right?
my first
They were
review.
very
Yeah,
helpful. The best 4,000 pesos worth of your money, the money
yeah.
can ever buy. Yeah, but anyway, we're gonna move on with some of the vocabulary words that you said. You said agriculture is the backbone of the economy or the Philippine economy. How would you describe, or what would you say backbone is? What would be the definition of backbone? It's an
It's
idiomatic
like the
phrase, right?
main,
Yeah.
yeah.
Literally
It's
the
like the
backbone is
main.
your spine, right? Literally when
Yes,
you talk about it in the scientific sense, it would be near that's your spine. But in an idiomatic expression, it's an idiomatic expression, by the way, guys. How would you define backbone?
it will be like say the main source of the income of the population. So it's
Hmm.
like the one that is supporting everything because it's let's say farming is, let's say, the I think the most popular, the most
The most
job that
extensive or the most
Filipinos do.
advanced or
Yes, the most
the most extensively researched part of our economy is the
Yes.
is
No,
farming, right?
agriculture or
Yeah,
farming.
when you go to Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, you would always see farms because we
Yes.
are a plant-based economy. Aside from that, we also export what's the second main source of income of Filipinos? The,
Oh,
the,
here we are.
yeah, we are the main source.
Present.
Yeah,
Yes.
Filipinos. Actually, it's human power or human resource is
Yeah.
actually our greatest import. All right. Um, burning the midnight oil is something that I've noticed also in your talk. Can you please can you please elaborate what you mean by burning the midnight oil?
It's like you really study hard,
Uh-huh.
especially when you are, let's say, putting all your efforts.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if it's true because normally in the past, people use this lamp, which
Mhm.
is,
Oh, so we have a
I think, oil
historical.
lamp.
Oh, so there's a
Yes.
historical background towards this
Something
particular
like that.
idiomatic expression. All right.
Yeah, something
Uh,
like that.
all right. And
That's, I think
I
that's
think yeah, I think I've heard you said not my cup of tea, and that's everybody's favorite. Not your cup of. I think you've said that one. I think it's you've said not your cup
I
of
think one
tea.
of the max before.
Yeah,
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 and it's
not
not
your cup,
my
not
cup
my cup
of
of tea. But yeah,
tea.
all right, so that's a wonderful one. And thank you for sharing your questions. I think it's found in an application in the
Yeah.
IFNG group. I think everybody has it, or everybody knows about it. I don't have it. I'm terribly sorry. I am a person who is always straightforward with people. I always say I don't have the app. I can't pay for the app. I'm a cheap person. So I would be one of those few people who pass the exams, leeching off or being a parasite to my friends like Jovi who had the app before. And yeah, I fed off of their knowledge. To be honest, I'm a parasite. But yeah,
Mm. No,
at
I
least
would say
I passed.
you're a
Yeah,
resourceful
resourceful.
person.
I'm trying to use my I use my okay. So this is another tip. If you are on a budget, okay, so for people there who don't have the means, you have internet, you just have your internet with you, your cell phone with you. If you have the means, be resourceful. That's tip number 6, right? So
Yes.
we try to have a, give we try to give a lot of tips for people. So I'm trying to be resourceful, and I leech off of my friends who have resources because I don't want to pay an extra. How much was that? I think that's 60 real or 90 real here in Saudi Arabia.
Like
And
I
for you,
somehow
how
something
much
like
was that
that.
app for you? Something
I
like
think
I think
it's
it's
in
almost the same price range here
nine
today.
dollars. I think nine dollars. It's a
$9,
month. It depends on your
it
month.
depends on what you want,
How
right? Or
long you will
yeah.
subscribe? Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So for those
subscribe for a
people,
month, so I think it's nine
yeah.
dollars.
So for those people who
As I
want
can
to
remember.
download the app, the name of the app in the App Store for Apple users is wait, let me check out the name first.
IELTS,
IELTS
IELTS speaking app.
speaking app. I think it's IELTS speaking app, and there is a discount for people who are who are joining the IFNG group. Sometimes
Yes,
they give out discounts for those people, and it's very helpful. But try to be like Jovi Jean, as she mentioned before. She's a person who doesn't memorize the answers. Try to be much more spontaneous because the people who
yes.
are examining, especially in the speaking exam, the people who are the examiners or what they call the invigilators, they're the ones who try to catch people who have memorized or what they
Memorize
say
answers.
robotic answers, right? So uh, and when you look back on Jovi Jean's performance, there were mistakes, correct? There were mistakes.
Yeah.
Noticeable, sometimes it was noticeable, sometimes it wasn't. And because she's very conversant, we weren't able to catch those things because she has what you call this she cured herself of monotony. When you say monotony, it's just
Mm-hmm.
sounding like a robot, like I am from the United Arab Emirates, I work as an aesthetic nurse. That is how
Yeah.
you sound like when you're robotic, and that's how I sounded before when I didn't know anything about this exam. And hopefully people who are watching right now, learn how to control their monotony. You don't have to be as flamboyant as me when you're trying to speak. You can say things like, "Oh, that's a wonderful question. Let me think about that for a while." Even when you're doing the fillers,
Yes.
even when you're doing the
Yeah.
fillers, you can try to be conversant with that portion.
Still.
I've always
Hmm.
tried that with the
And one more
people.
thing, yeah.
Yeah. What
Because
else? What's the one
I
more
don't
thing?
know with
There's five
you,
more
Sir
minutes in
Manuel,
this
because
podcast. There's 5 more minutes.
I don't know with you if you wore did you wear a mask during your
I wore a
examination?
mask. I wore a mask back then,
Okay.
and it was difficult. You know
Yes,
what I did?
yes.
I asked
It
the
was very
examiner,
difficult.
"Can I please remove it? I can't speak properly." He said,
Uh-huh.
"Do as you want. Do what you want to do." He's very
Okay.
intimidating when he said that to me. Do what you want to do, because he was a very tough
Okay.
looking guy. The guy who was the guy who was examining me, he was a tough looking guy,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Do what you want to do." Really, that was so
Okay. You were
intimidating.
allowed. You were
I
allowed.
was allowed because at that time
Okay.
the pandemic restrictions weren't as strict back then. So, and I
Okay.
think some of the people in my IELTS groups also said to me that you can ask the examiner if you can remove your mask, because the other person in front of you is just a laptop. They're basically in the
Mm-hmm.
United Kingdom or in America, and they're just
Yeah,
speaking to you
others.
via Zoom, just like what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
True.
move myself from the equation, and this is what you're going to look at when you for the viewers. This is what you're going to look at. I think Jovi can't see it, but this is what you're going to look at when you're doing the actual exam. And I'm gonna return my face now. I'm gonna drag it there for people to see. So that's basically what you're going to see when you're doing the exam. Okay, just the other person in front of you. And what I like about the restrictions is that they can't see me fidgeting. When I say fidgeting, my hands
Mm-hmm.
are like this. I'm shaking, and my
Mm-hmm.
boots are shaking. Or another idiomatic expression. All right, so my boots are shaking, or I would say
Mm-hmm.
my feet are fumbling, and that's another way to cue the examiner that you're
Mm-hmm.
nervous or something
Oh,
like
you
that.
were
Yeah,
so
I
you were
was
in a
nervous.
Zoom.
I was in
You
a
were in
Zoom
a Zoom
meeting
meeting.
also. I was in a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
I was like with Robbie. She had the Zoom meeting.
Mm-mm.
She had the Zoom meeting with the examiner, and they did a lot
Okay.
of.
For me, it was face to face
Oh,
with
face to face for
just
you.
like an acrylic. Yes, it was a
Oh,
face
okay.
to face
So
for me.
okay, so it doesn't matter where you are. Just be prepared.
Yeah.
Just be
Yes,
prepared.
just be
Just
prepared.
be prepared.
Mhm.
And one way to prepare yourself is to practicing it
Practice
every day. Every day.
every day.
Yeah. From 6 months to from 3 months up to 3 months up to my exam date, I practiced every day. I just slipped in once. I just slipped,
Yes.
and 1 week. The 1 week was because I was building something. I was trying to build an empire.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, so I was trying to do something for 1 week, and I slipped off the wagon, so to speak. All right, okay.
Yeah.
So those
But
are the
anyway,
things that we did.
practice.
And
Yeah.
last
Always
question,
practice is the key.
one question before we go. What was the one word, not the IELTS
Yeah.
answer, huh? What was the one sacrifice that you did when you were practicing for the IELTS exam? One
Sleep.
sleep. All right, sleep.
That would be sleep. Yes.
For me, I think it's tulfo, right?
Sulfo.
Yeah, tulfo. I'm a big fan of tulfo and everything kachipan.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
everything kachipan. I canceled
But
it. I canceled it for 2 months.
yes.
That was my sacrifice, and you have to have something to hold on to. I need
True.
to pass this exam because I sacrificed not everything. I
Sulfo.
sacrificed tulfo. I sacrificed
Me,
Rafi,
I
tulfo, and
sacrifice
action.
sleep. Really.
Yeah, so for her, I can't fail in this exam because I sacrificed
Yes.
sleep. So that was
Yes.
my
And also the
motivation.
eye bags. The
Yeah,
eye
the eye
bags that
bags.
I had.
So beauty was also a sacrifice for you to a certain
Yeah.
extent. Beauty was a sacrifice for you. So yeah, with that in
Yes.
mind, I think this is the time where we're going to close the podcast because you've done your mock. I'm sorry we
Oh,
don't have
great.
time to do the mock with me because
Yes.
yeah, we were talking a lot of we're talking so much in the
I
first part that
enjoyed. I
yeah.
enjoyed.
No,
No
I'm
need.
terribly sorry. I'm terrible. But
No
yeah,
need to say
we can
sorry.
do that. We can do that next time, hopefully. Hopefully we can see you again
Sure.
next week if time permits it. Or if I can't find
Sure.
another person,
It will be.
you will be my go-to person doing when I'm doing this podcast. I'm gonna try and do it on a weekly basis because I think people are watching. I'm so happy. People are actually watching this thing, and 14
No,
people
it's
is
actually
the
because
most
it's
amount of
a.
people who are in my
Yeah.
podcast. And with that in mind, we're gonna close the podcast for now, and I hope I see you guys next week. All
Of
right. I hope
course.
I go
Thank you
see you.
so much,
Yeah,
Besh.
thank you so much also, Beshi, and thank you so much for the people who are watching. There are now 17 people on the podcast, and I didn't expect that. I was expecting you, my two friends, and yeah. So because of that, there's 10 people or yeah, 18 people who are watching. Please share, and subscribe. And if you're a latecomer, please watch the first portion. This podcast was made primarily as a joke, but now we're trying to take it a little bit more seriously now.
Yeah.
So if you
I
want
think
to
it will
see
help
more,
everyone.
yeah, if you want to see more of us trying to make you guys laugh and learn at the same time, please share, and subscribe. And it would mean so much for me and Jovi if you did. Right? So bye
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Thank you so
Bye
much for
bye,
everything. And
guys.
please
Thank you so
be
much.
kind to one another. Please be kind to one another. All right? That is my closing message. Goodbye, guys. Bye. My
Bye
kitty bands. My
bye.
kitty